In today's video, we're going to be going over our official summer forecast for the summer of 2024. We're going to be going over the precipitation, the temperatures. We will be alluding to a lot of tropics as well, as that's going to be a big part of this upcoming summer. And then we will dive into the always so exciting overall forecast at the end of this video. Also, I did not mention it within this video. I forgot to do it, so I'm putting it right here. All of the maps that you see in this video are using our very own trilogy maps, which you can check out in the description and pinned comment down below. We are doing a 50% off summer sale over there. So if you want the highest definition, most customizable maps anywhere on the internet, be sure to check them out. They're 16K, which is unbelievably high definition. We've gotten great reviews on those over the last, I think, year that we've been doing them, so be sure to check it out if you are interested. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Let's just dive right into things though. And we're starting out with our precipitation forecast. As you can see, for a lot of the Southwest into the Four Corner states, and then back up through the Northern Rockies and Plains, we do have a drier area expected here. Again, Southwest, Four Corner states, up through these kind of Northern Rockies and Northern Plains areas. This is an area where overall I expect it to be quite dry. Things already have been, and we kind of just expect this to continue through a majority of the rest of the summer. And I think this is an important time to let you guys know that really in a 3-month forecast, which is what these seasonal forecasts really are, you can't expect every single day to look like this. But on paper, when we add up every single day that was the summer of 2024, we do anticipate that the average will look like this. So keep in mind that there will be still a lot of fluctuations. You know, these areas will see some periods of above average precipitation despite the overall below average precipitation. And that's just how things kind of go. If we were forecasting for just a week, then it might look a lot closer every single day to what we're forecasting for. But on these long-term forecasts, not necessarily the case. Let's add a second layer of those below normal precipitation areas. And what we see is that these kind of Southwest areas get dodged, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the areas in this higher confidence below average precipitation area is going to be for Northern California, Northern Nevada. A lot of your Rockies are in here. And then even down through some of the eastern Four Corner states into some of western Texas. Now, this area here, the reason I didn't put them in the kind of further below average precipitation area is during the summer they average nearly no precipitation, such a little amount that calling for far below average precipitation just seems irresponsible. I do expect overall a drier pattern than what's expected typically. However, you know, to call for far below average precipitation would have to nearly be no precipitation to even verify. And I think that there's just a chance that we see a storm or two fly through here that at least brings them semi-close to the average. And it'd be very, very challenging for them to see far below average precipitation. So that's why, you know, typically I would have just painted it in everywhere as the darker brown. But this time I kind of dodged this area for that climate reason. So I hope that makes sense. Let's go ahead and start talking about some of the above average precipitation areas. And the number one area is going to be the Northwest here, over Washington, Oregon, and some of Idaho there. Now, they typically see very, very wet conditions through the year, as you know, but the summertime is their dry season. I have noticed that we've seen a little bit more precipitation in this area than what's typical so far through late May into early June. And I do anticipate just like that a little bit above average activity to prevail in this area continuously over the course of the summer, as it's already sort of done, as we've noted here. So we have another very large area of above average precipitation, and I do have a caveat here. I do suspect that some of these areas, especially in here, could see overall less storminess. We've seen that through a lot of June where these areas have just been relatively dry. It's been closer to the coast, a lot of this activity. And then to the north here, Midwest, Great Lakes, Northeast. But this area has gotten kind of dodged here for a little bit, and I do suspect that that could continue to some extent. But overall, I think that as we reach later into summertime, these isolated and scattered thunderstorm events will kind of make up for it and at least bring you guys into the average category and a lot of areas into the above average category. But summertime's hard, you know. Your county might see a heavy thunderstorm, and then the county next to you guys might get zero precipitation. So it's very, very tough to forecast for large areas when there's such micro details happening underneath. So That's what I've always kind of said about the summer forecasts. They are very, very tough for those reasons, among others, of course. We do have a second layer of the above average precipitation where we're a little bit more confident. We're feeling like it might be a little bit higher above average, and that's going to be for your upper Midwest, kind of Great Lakes area here, Ohio Valley, into the Northeast here. This area has already done very well as far as precipitation over the course of this very early summer, and we just keep seeing a lot of storms move through this area. I think it's also worth noting that we are heading into a La Nina. Of course, we've talked about this very, very many times, and La Ninas typically feature a lot of storms up here in these northern territories of the north central and northeastern states, while not quite as much here in the southeast. So this is very, very on par with what we've seen and what would be expected based on a couple of things happening already. So I'm feeling fairly confident in this. Now, I did add near the coast, especially the Gulf Coast here, and then up the southeast coast, another pretty far above average precipitation area. And this one is there because of the tropics. We already see a threat here as we speak, and perhaps another threat heading towards the coast of Texas there, the Gulf Coast of Texas. So we're seeing a multitude of threats already in June, and I suspect that July and August might follow suit or even get more intense. So these areas could see some additional precipitation because of those above average tropics that are ongoing. Now, with all that being said, I know that's a mouthful. Let's dive into the temperature pattern, and we're going to start out with the below normal temperatures here, and we do expect that the Northwest into a lot of the northern Rockies and some of the northern plains could see some below average temperatures. It's already been a little bit cooler there at times here over the course of this summer, and we do anticipate that with the above average amount of storms kind of moving through here, we should see above average amounts of clouds, as they typically see some stronger lows when they see their storms. So that's going to encompass days of cloudiness associated with it. And I think that that's going to be enough to bring those temperatures down just a little bit for this northwest corridor of the nation. Now, as we just kind of include our warmer areas, try to find it. It's, I have to point it out here for you guys, of course, but the entire eastern United States and then the entire southwestern United States there are under the above average temperatures. I really suspect that there's going to be warmth here throughout the southwest compared to typical. And of course, the east here, we're beginning to see heat waves already. I do anticipate that this will continue here over the coming weeks and maybe even into July, which will get us close to the halfway mark of summer. And, all it takes is a good half and maybe a little bit more seeing the far above average temperatures. And all of a sudden, you're almost locked in to seeing above average temperatures for the entire season. So I feel fairly confident in this, as you will see. We do have a couple of areas of higher confidence, and that's going to be for the southwest here, where we do suspect a kind of higher pressure, warmer temperature pattern to take place for a majority of the summer here. But not only that, the eastern states overall, especially the further north you go here, so from the plains through the mid-Atlantic and then up towards the northeast, Ohio Valley, Midwest, Great Lakes, all of these areas we're feeling very confident. They're already seeing heat waves, especially to the north here. Again, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, northeast, mid-Atlantic, kind of upper Midwest area as well. These areas have been very hot, and they're starting to get hotter here. And we do anticipate that to continue for weeks to come, as I mentioned. And then, obviously we do expect there should be some warmth through the later portion of July into August. Could be more heat waves on the way. I suspect that we're going to have a far above average temperature summer here for a lot of these areas in the north central and northeastern states here. And so much so that I actually included our very rare, very elusive third layer here on the temperature forecast for the Great Lakes. Again, some of the Midwest and Plains, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast here. I do suspect that multiple heat waves are on the way, and maybe even more later on. So very, very hot summer on the way for these folks, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what you're hoping for. But this is a little extreme. So if you're hoping for this, I think something might be wrong with you. But to each their own, of course. Let's take a look at the overall forecast. Very exciting, as I mentioned. A lot of people always look forward to this, and it is the prettiest part of the video, if I'm going to be honest. The Northwest is cooler and stormy, as we saw. Below average temperatures, above average precipitation. Overall cooler and stormy. Wouldn't say it would necessarily be cool, just cooler than typical. Very dry in the Southwest. As we mentioned, they see almost no precipitation already. We do expect below average. So should be very, very little amounts. Also very dry as we reach towards the Four Corner States and Southern Rockies. Not quite as much as the Southwest here, as these areas do average a little bit more precipitation. We do see stormy for the north central states. I do suspect that that will be the case here. And then also for a lot of the south central states, warmer and stormy. There should be plenty of thunderstorms for both of these areas. Despite the near normal, I think some of these are in the below normal precipitation. Some of it is in the above average. These areas suspect a lot of thunderstorms, or they typically see a lot of thunderstorms through the summertime especially. So it will be stormy even if you're in the below average precipitation. I want to clarify that there. And same story here for the south central states. Typically, we're seeing our the height of the thunderstorm season over the spring for these areas, but still the summer could feature some thunderstorms, of course. Tropical concerns along the Gulf and Southeast coast. I'm going to stand by that, I think, for the rest of June, July, August. We're going to be on high alert for tropical activity throughout all of these coastlines here. Very stormy throughout the kind of deeper south, some of the Gulf states here, some of the southern Ohio Valley and Midwest. These areas just typically see a lot of humidity, a lot of heat, and a lot of thunderstorms, and I don't suspect anything different than that this upcoming and ongoing summer. Extreme heat, as I mentioned before, for the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley here. Very, very hot. Multiple heat waves. I think it's going to be a nasty, very hot summer. And for this pink area over the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, hot and stormy. Again, very humid along the eastern seaboard, especially east of the Appalachian Mountains, but even west of them, you can see a lot of humidity. We expect a lot of thunderstorms as a result of that. Maybe not as much as your southern counterparts, but I would say probably an above average amount of thunderstorms this summer, and very, very hot compared to normal. So probably above average heat, above average humidity, and that would result in above average thunderstorms there. I guess that's the best way to put it. So very active summer for you guys up there in the Northeast. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed putting it together and recording it for you guys. Be sure to subscribe, as we do upload every single day, and we do have a lot of exciting fall and wintertime videos coming soon that are kind of like these seasonal ones. We're going to be going over my analogs for the fall and the winter here over the next week. I should be uploading those videos, so very, very exciting stuff. We should be making fall forecasts very soon as well. So be sure to subscribe for those daily weather videos. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when I upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.